I walked past that bare spot on the drywall for nearly 6 months. We had remodeled our kitchen and it was 98% done. There were just a few little things that had been left unfinished, and I was not happy about that. I talked to my husband. I'm like, we need a plan. And we bought supplies, we made a list, we had reminders on the refrigerator, and still nothing happened. And I was letting my frustration grow over this. I know the right thing to do in that moment, and I still didn't do it. It came out as anger. It came out as resentment. And as soon as that explosive energy left me, I knew, oh my gosh, Mary, you did not deal with that well. So, we are going to be talking about how to heal the disconnect. And I have 5 words to give you that are powerful cues so you don't have to find yourself in a situation like that you can begin to identify what's going on inside of you. And instead of a disconnect, you will grow stronger and closer. Are you ready to hear those 5 words? I bet you are. And I want to give full credit to Danny Silk. His podcast is called Keep Your Love On, the KYLO show. And I'll put a link in the description for you of the exact episodes where he talks about this. I also went through his Life Academy, and we spent a lot of time discussing this. I'm not sure how many books you might find this information is, but specifically these podcasts list it for you. So if you don't want to use anger to disconnect and you do want to lean in and grow with your vulnerability, these words are going to help you. So I'm going to give you the words short and quick, and then I'm going to unpack each one. Here they are. Ouch. Yikes. Ugh. Whoa. Yay. Now, he's known for acronyms, and those aren't acronyms, but they're very short. And is the way you remember things is if it's short and it comes to you quickly. So I'm going to say them again. Ouch, yikes, ugh. Whoa, yay. Here we go. Let's unpack them. Instead of blowing up in anger or shutting down, we're going to identify what's going on in a core level so that you can share that information with your spouse, because they won't know unless you tell them. The first one, ouch. This is what you say when you feel hurt. If somebody steps on your toe, you go, ouch. Well, if somebody steps on your feelings, say, ouch. You can literally say the word, especially after you get comfortable with that, and then you can build that into your relationship. These can be used as a relationship tool. Now, you might feel you need to say ouch when you're not seen. And that was my example. I should have said ouch because I felt hurt. I felt not seen. And that was something I needed to identify to share with my husband. The second word is yikes. And you say that when you're scared. Now, I'm not saying black spiders and, oh, is there a snake scared? I'm saying, whoa, something is happening and you don't feel safe emotionally, whether things were just going too fast or it's going against one of your core beliefs. It takes a little time to figure out when you feel scared. And we don't like admitting fear. And we often choose anger over fear, but it's a real thing. The third one is, ugh, when you feel sad. And this might be regret over your actions, even grief. So when I realized how I had messed up, I had to get soft and tender and take ownership. Ugh, I did the wrong thing. I handled that terribly, and I'm sorry. Your words and your tone and your body language all have to come together with that. And you're taking responsibility for you. This is never, I'm sorry you feel that way. That has nothing to do with what we're saying right now. The next one is, whoa. You say that when you feel powerless. Now, listen, I had a horse farm in Kentucky. Sometimes I've told horse stories before. That's a real word, and you can train your horse to that. Whoa! It's like, let's pull back here. Ooh, we got to figure out what's happening. And when you feel powerless, you feel out of control. I remember being on my horse in the middle of a storm, and she got scared by the winds rushing, and we needed a moment. And I had to settle this wild animal, and me too, to be able to go forward. So feeling powerless is a real thing, and being able to identify that is so important. Now, the fifth one is yay. That's when you're enjoying something. That's when you have relief. Oh my gosh, things came together and you're thankful. So acknowledge the yays as well because they are valuable. That's where we're aiming, right? We want to be able to incorporate that as a daily part of ourselves. Now, listen, this is very basic. I know it is a starting place, but your number one job is to manage you. And when you identify what's going on at your core, what some of those feelings are, instead of letting it come out in anger, instead of letting it stew, instead of letting it turn into a wall because you're self-protecting, you can begin to identify this and share it. And when you identify, it helps you practice self-control. Not a very glamorous or sexy thing, but it's so significant. And being able to give this kind of feedback to your spouse about what's going on inside of you, it is a gift. It is so significant. As I said, they have a choice what they will do with the information you give them about yourself. But when you choose these healing words, it shows you're showing up and you're bringing love with you and you're pursuing connection. Might feel a little messy at the same time, but absolutely worth it. This kind of sharing creates closeness, builds emotional safety, increases emotional intimacy. This is the difference between living as roommates and between living when you're fully alive and present in your relationship. So I hope that you will make some choices to use these words, but I'm going to push it one step further. Do you think it's possible that you have done some self-protecting and it has influenced or interfered with your intimacy? We know sexual intimacy is the closest that we ever are, and God designs for that place to be a place of respect and honor. But maybe you've had some hurt or some fear, or you felt out of control in intimacy, and it has been a block for you. If you're curious, I invite you to take my free quiz, What's Your Intimacy Type? It will unpack for you some of the things that you've believed that maybe you didn't know that was a part of your story, and it will also give you some next steps that you can do right now to help yourself and show love in your marriage. So that link, What's Your Intimacy Type, I'll put in the description. You can also find it on my website, limitlessintimacy.com. Thanks so much for joining me today. And remember, God's design for a thriving marriage is an intimate connection in spirit, soul, and body.